is up, YouTube? Ace Poker back again for another video. We're rolling through some traffic. We are back to the same home game from last video. If you guys have not checked it out, my biggest win on the vlog. It was actually last Wednesday that I played this game. They play it every Wednesday, Saturday. The Wednesdays have been really good to me, so I am hoping that I can replicate last Wednesday's session. We won $1,700 in 4 hours of play. It is 6 p.m. We're getting there at game start. Maybe we'll play 5-6 hours today, play late. Let's see if we can win big. I'm gonna speak it into existence. Let's go, let's run good. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys for another week, another vlog. Let's get right into it. It's so funny when I watch these intros back because I always shoot my intros before I play my session. So I did speak this big win into existence. And for the first hand here, to start it off, we look down at 7-2 offsuit. You might be asking yourself, why am I playing 7-2 offsuit? Well, at this home game, the first person to win with 7-2 offsuit gets $100. So this is the very first hand, the very first shuffle. I raise it up to $25 and everyone folds. It counts. There's my $100 right on the table. Let's go. How can you start off better than this by winning $100 to do nothing? Let's go. This is going to kick off a great session and buckle your seatbelts. In classic Ace Poker fashion, we pick up Ace King twice and only get a little bit of value, about $20 to $30 in both hands. This hand consistently wins me super small pots. I don't know how you guys feel about Ace King, but I'm not a huge fan. For the next hand here, the recording started a little bit late, but we look down at Ace Queen offsuit under the gun and raise it to $20 and get called in 3 spots. So not super ideal until the flop comes Ace 4-4. It's honestly a perfect flop. We have the entire board locked up, so out of position, I actually decide to check this one. I don't really like betting these type of boards when they're extremely dry, not even a flush draw out there, because what's gonna call me? I mean, is like King 10, King Jack gonna float me if they don't believe me? And things go from good to even better when the turn is a queen, so we will somehow beat Ace King if somebody has that. But I go small and bet $25 and all 3 players call, which is super weird. I don't really blame them after I check the flop, but for 3 players to call, I mean, I could see maybe somebody's got a queen, maybe somebody's got a flush draw, but then what does everybody else have? I don't know. The river comes an awesome card, does not complete the flush draw, is a total brick unless somebody has pocket 8 specifically. Can't be scared of that. We bet out for $50 and only 1 player calls. We show the ace queen and we're good, and we're off to a continued good start, up about $300 now, so let's keep it going in the right direction. Alright, back to the regularly scheduled broadcast. My favorite hand, Ace King. Yeah, it just haunts me. I keep getting it. Let's see if we can finally win a decent pot with this hand. We're in the cutoff and decide to raise it up to $25 and only the small blind makes the call. We see yet another really good board in King 9-3 with 2 clubs. That hasn't been the problem though. The problem has been getting paid. It's very hard to get paid with Ace King since a lot of people always put you on that when you raise. I don't know, it's just a weird poker thing. So when the small blind checks, I decide to bet just $20 and the small blind makes the call. We see an interesting card on the turn, the 9 of diamonds. So if my opponent did have a 9, he is now beating us with 3 of a kind. My opponent checks, and you can't be scared of that. I think you definitely should c-bet here. But I decide to check back, and I can't really explain now or tell you why in the moment I decided to check back, but I do. And the river comes the ace of clubs, which improves us further, but we still lose to a 9, and now the front door flush draw comes in, and even weirder, my opponent decides to overbet the pot to $95. I don't really know what's going on. If this was an OMC, an older gentleman, or somebody who didn't play that many hands, I might make a nitty fold here because we haven't invested much and it's not really great odds to call here. But I've seen this player do a lot of weird things already, so against him, I'm not going anywhere. I flick in the call. Yes, this fold would be very nitty, and my opponent just immediately says, "You're good." So yeah, definitely helped to keep in mind and to watch the table and see that he was a little bit of a maniac and a bit aggressive, so gonna keep that in mind going forward. Happy to win a decent pot with Ace King, and let's keep going. Time for the first splash pot of the night. If you guys don't know, everyone puts in $25 and the host adds $100, so it's about $350 when it's a full table. The cards are dealt out, the flop, the turn, the river. Whoever wins, wins, and we actually get Ace King yet again. So that's 4 times within like the first hour that we've gotten Ace King. We actually would have flopped top pair, top kicker, but as you guys see here on the freeze frame, there are 4 clubs out there, so there's no way we are winning. And sure enough, somebody shows a queen of clubs and takes this one down. Hopefully we can win some throughout the night because these are a really good boost to the stack. If you lose all of them, you lose like $100, $150, so it kind of sucks. So let's see if we can win them. That's it, I am done with ace king, so I told the dealer, slide me kings, and that's what we look down at. There are a bunch of limps, and we are on the button. Time to punish the limpers. We make it $35, and 2 players make the call. Headed to a flop 3 ways, in which it's pretty good, obviously really good when no aces out there. Very surprised the ace didn't come out, always does when you have kings. They both check, I see bet for $55, and they both snap fold. So, like my problem is with ace king, my problem isn't like losing these hands or hitting flops, it's just getting paid. That's the hardest thing to do in poker besides playing good, obviously. And unfortunately, nothing here, and we're on to the next, but don't go anywhere because these pots are about to get big. We are seeing some chips fly as you see this man bet $450 on this dry ass board. I have no idea what he possibly could have. We are salivating trying to get into the action, but little did I know at the time of this video that those chips are about to fly in my direction. Before we get into my next hand, I just wanted to say I am so happy I videotaped this. This is one of the weirdest hands I may have ever seen. The flop comes 6, 7, 9 rainbow, and I forget the pre-flop action, but the first player decides to bet $30. The player to my right calls $30, and now the button raises to $100. It gets back to the first player who jams about $350. He is all in, so it's looking like he definitely has a straight, 2 pair, set, over pair, something. The player to my right folds, and the player who's on the button gives it some thought and then decides to flick in the call. As you see the run out, nothing changes. The player who went all in mucks his hand because the button shows 9-10. Top pair with essentially no kicker, so he decided to raise after a bet and a call, and then he called off an all in. There's not even a flush draw out there. I have absolutely no idea. I was 100% correct when I told you earlier that this player was crazy because this is the player who tried to bluff me when I had ace king. I would have been so sick seeing this if I had folded earlier, but wow. I hope you guys think that this hand is as crazy as I do because I was in disbelief watching it live, and oh my goodness. Now it's my turn to play against that exact same player who just went all in with, I guess, essentially nothing because he lost the hand. He's under the gun and raises it to $20. We look down at pocket queens and 3-bet him up to $80. As you see on the top of the screen, he goes all in. I don't even get a count. I snap call. Obviously, I think he has like $300. The run out comes. I guess it's clean. I show the queens and he shows pocket nines in disgust. Let's go. We win about $300 here. Things are starting to align and they are only getting better as this is just the brink of the craziness that's about to happen. Honestly, no better feeling than having a big ass stack to re-rack after a huge hand. For the next hand, we look down at Jack 9 suited. There is a button straddle to $10 and the small blind and big blind call $10. I think that this is a perfect hand to apply the pressure. I raise it up under the gun +1 to $40 and only the cutoff decides to call, so it's just me and him. And what a better time to raise Jack 9 and put on the pressure than to flop 2 pair. Yeah, I definitely knew that one was coming. I decide to down c-bet here to $35 and I am happy to see that my opponent puts in the call. There's a flush draw out there, so that's pretty much the only thing that I'm worried about, but all my worries go out the window when the turn comes at 9. What a better time to raise Jack 9 than to flop 2 pair and turn a boat. Now I think that this is an awesome time to check, let my opponent either bluff or catch up on the river, hitting a flush or a straight draw if he's got that. So I check and my opponent checks back. The river comes an interesting card because it's essentially a brick. It does not complete anything. The only thing it completes is 8-10. I don't think my opponent's going to have that unless I guess he specifically has 8-10 suited. But now, what would I do here if I had missed my flush draw? First of all, I probably would have bet the turn with the flush draw, or though maybe sometimes I would have checked, seeing that the board paired and my opponent probably would not fold any type of pair and maybe could have had a 9 himself. But like I've said before, what would I do with a missed draw? I would probably apply maximum pressure, so I bet out $200 here, making it look like one of those missed draws. My opponent thinks about it for a really long time because it's a gross spot. I mean, I obviously could have a lot of the overpairs. I could have a full house like I do here. I could have a straight in 8-10 myself. Who knows what I've got, what I could have. I could also just have ace king of clubs, ace queen of clubs, all of those big combinations, king queen of clubs, something like that. After a long thought, my opponent puts in the call. Let's go. I showed the Jack 9 and we're obviously good. Like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Things are going to keep going up, so let's get it and let's keep running this stack up. We are off to an awesome start as we were up about $800 or $900 when this video was taken, but things are not done yet. We are going to keep going. Let's go. Now, I'm going to need you guys to rub your eyes and make sure you guys are awake and seeing what is about to go on. We look down at pocket aces in the big blind here, and the owner of the game, who is in the cutoff, sits down, he's having a good time, and he decides to open it up to $110. Yeah, $110. We're playing 2-5. There's a straddle on. It's $10. One person limp. And he made it $110. I look over, he's got $500 left. I want to do something a little bit different, a little bit crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, and I decided to go all in. I put him all in. As I've said before, and you guys have seen me battle with him in previous vlogs, we do some crazy things against each other. He does a lot of crazy things. He makes a lot of moves with flush draws, different types of hands. I don't even want to scare him away if he's got like 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks. He might think that I'm on ace king, ace queen, I don't even know, 10s, jacks. Who knows what he thinks that I have, but he thinks it over and decides to call. Oh my goodness, immediately right off the bat. Just a regular 3-bet, 4-bet, and we have a $1,200 pot. I have no idea what's going on. The flop, I think, comes clean, and he shows ace-king suited. So that is one of the best hands to see in this possible scenario. Thankfully, we don't get screwed by 3-of-a-kind kings or a flush or a straight. It's clean, and now we're up about $1,500 or $1,600. Let's go. This has just been an unreal session so far. After a slow start, we are on a freight train that is moving and not stopping, so let's keep going. Now I'd say we've got a pretty healthy chip stack. Let's keep going. Alright, I guess if we're not going to settle for aces, queens will be alright. So we go from queens to aces to queens. Let's see if we can win here. We raise it up to $25. The player to my left calls, and now the player on the button puts in the $25, says raise, and decides to make it $90 more. As you see, he's only got about $300 left. I think that there's no way that he's going to 3-bet me here pretty massive and fold. So I decided to just put him all in, and it gets back to him, and he hems and haws and hems and haws, and decides to fold, eventually telling me that he was trying to bluff me. So that's unfortunate, and thinking back on this, queens are such a strong hand and aren't really susceptible to a lot of flops, obviously, besides an ace or a king. So I think I honestly should probably just flat here. There's really not a lot of hands that I would flat here in this scenario. Maybe 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks. Ace king suited I might still get in, so maybe ace queen suited I call here. So I think I definitely need to open up that range by flat calling queens here to not really cap myself to those certain hands. If that makes a little bit of sense, if you guys don't understand that, you could ask me and I will be more than happy to explain that to you. But unfortunately, we can't get the rest of his stack, but who knows, maybe if he just jammed with whatever he had that we would have lost, so it's alright. We win another $150 here, and we're on to the next. No, this is not a joke. We look down at aces yet again, and there's an open to $15, one call, and I decided to 3-bet this one up to $50 and get 2 calls. One that I didn't really want to get called on the player to my right, who was an extreme nit, so I guess I'm going to have to play a little bit with caution if he decides to call me post flop. But we see an alright looking flop here. Both players decide to check it over to me, and I throw in a nice little continuation bet for $40. The older man across the table decides to put in the call, but he is not an OMC. He does play a little bit loose. That's something to note, and I'm relieved to see the player to my right, who is an extreme nit, decides to fold. We see an turn. The front door flush draw doesn't come in, but now it's definitely likely for my opponent to have a lot of different straights. But when he checks, I decide to play a little bit of a pot control game here and just check back. Yes, it's a little scared, but if we get check raised here, we're going to puke. So I'm okay with seeing a river, and the river is maybe one of the worst cards in the deck. Definitely completes more 2 pairs, more straights, and the front door flush gets in there. But when the opponent checks, I think that this is where I've made a huge improvement in my game. Old me would have just snap checked back, showed the aces, been fine with the result. If we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. But my opponent just checked all 3 streets. Does he really have a straight? Does he really have a flush draw? Does he really have 2 pair, full house? I decide to toss out $60 there with the full intention that if my opponent now puts in a raise, no matter what it is, unless it's just a min raise, I am going to fold. But my opponent pretty much snap calls me, I show the aces, and we're good, so I'm very happy that I got an extra $60 there. It pays for some extra gas. You have to always be improving on your game. Let me know what you guys think about this one down below. Well, we can't win every single hand, can we? Let's see here. We look down at 9-10 of hearts. There's a $10 straddle on, and I just complete in the small blind. So 3 of us are headed to a pretty good flop in 2, 5, 6 with 2 hearts. So we have 2 overs, a backdoor straight draw, and the obvious flush draw. So I decide to start out with a check. The player to my left checks, and then the last player in the hand, who is in the hijack, decides to bet $30. A pretty large bet, but obviously we're not going anywhere. I don't really want to play this aggressively because this should smack a just limping range. He could obviously have 3-4. He could have 2 pair. He obviously could have a straight draw and a bigger flush draw, so I don't want to go crazy just yet. I put in the call, and the player to my left calls as well. The board now gets even better as we turn top pair. We're obviously still losing to 2 pair and a straight, but a very good turn because now we can run a runner trips, run a runner 2 pair, but still I think there's nothing else to do but start out with a check. So I check, the player to my left checks, and now the hijack bets $50. Again, I don't want to go too crazy because it seems he does have a really good hand. I just put in the call, and now the player to my left does something extremely irritating as he essentially min raises it to $125. Gets back to the other player, and he makes the call. So I want you guys to think about this for a little bit. The player to my left raising is going to signal a very strong hand. He could be slow playing 3-4, he could be slow playing pocket 2s, pocket 5s, pocket 6s. He could have just hit 2 pair if he's playing 9-6. He could have a very good hand in, say, now a pair and a spade flush draw. I don't really know, but I do think that the other player in the hijack is pretty obviously on a straight draw himself or a flush draw himself, and essentially every flush draw is higher than mine. So now we have to start thinking about reverse implied odds, and if you guys don't know what that is, it's essentially saying, like, yes, you have the odds to call here, but say we hit a heart and my opponent has a higher flush draw, we're going to lose a lot more money, which is the reverse implied odds. So if I think, and it's a very nitty thought, but if I think my hearts are not live, I essentially only have a 9 or a 10 to hit, and my opponent still could have 3-4 for a straight. So I unfortunately let this one go. I know it's very not like me. I like to gamble a lot, but I let this one go, and I still played the recording here. I would have been sick to my stomach if I saw a 9, a 10, or a heart, but thankfully we see the jack of diamonds, which essentially is a brick. The player to my left now only bets $100, and the other player folds. So I was wrong about the hijack. He did not have anything. He announced that he missed his draw. He had the world, whatever that means. And the player to my left just mucked. I should have asked him to see his hand to just see if we were good, but honestly, I don't even really like doing that because that would piss me off if he showed just a complete airball bluff. But I don't know, weird hand. Let me know what you guys would have done here. I like to go crazy with flush draws sometimes, but I just didn't think that this was the spot to do it. I really like to go for it heads up. Say it was just me and the hijack heads up, I definitely would have check raised either the flop or the turn, and it would have worked because it appears he had absolutely nothing. But we're on to the next hand. Alright, well, if 9-10 suited didn't work, let's go one up and try Jack-10 suited. We're in the cutoff, there's a bunch of limps. I decide to open it up to $25. The small blind and under the gun make the call. We see a really good board of ace 9-3 with 2 hearts. It's good in obviously 2 factors as we have the flush draw, obviously, but as the pre-flop aggressor, the ace should be good anyways, so applying pressure should win the hand without having to hit the flush. Sure enough, both players check to me, and I lead out for $30 here. The small blind gives it some thought. I think he's about to raise, but then he folds, and under the gun makes the call. We see another really good turn, as now we pick up a gutter along with our flush draw, and under the gun checks. Now, like I said in the last hand, I do like to go crazy with flush draws, especially if we're heads up. But with this much equity, I think I actually really like checking back. Under the gun could have slow played a monster here as he limped under the gun and now just called and called. I would hate to get check raised here and have to throw away our equity or call and just try to hit it on the river in a massive pot. So I decide to check back. Might be a little nitty, but I don't know. And boom, as if this session wasn't great enough, we hit the flush on the river, under the gun checks, and I want to go massive. I bet $120. My opponent shows an ace and folds. Oh my goodness, what? Did he just soul read me like that? I mean, it did look like I have a flush draw, but oh my goodness, the respect I get on this table is crazy. That is insane. And that's going to wrap up this crazy session, and just wow, stay tuned to hear my thoughts about this session and about how my last couple weeks have been. Thank you guys for watching so much, and just watch my thoughts here.
Guys, holy shit. If you thought last week's session, if you guys have not seen the video, check it out, was good, we ran even better today, won even more money today. What is going on? I take a month off from poker, roughly 3 weeks actually. I come back and I kill it. I am up roughly $5,000 or $6,000 since coming back to playing poker. I'm here with a vengeance. My mind is right. I am so happy because, like I said last vlog, this feels so right. I am so passionate about this. I play these sessions, I come home, upload them to my computer, and I get to editing right away. I edit the video, I edit shorts for Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube shorts. I am on my grind right now, and it is showing, it is paying off. And like I said last time, all praise to the man up above. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me in my journeys, watching me lose, watching me be so sad, saying poker sucks. For those of you that did not give up on me, thank you. For those of you that supported me from the beginning, thank you so much. You guys have got to see me from the beginning and keep on going. You guys are gonna see it all the way through to the end. There's no end in sight. We're gonna keep on growing, keep on getting bigger, better. Just wow. I can't wait until one day when I sun run like a 5-10 or 10-20 session and I'm up like 10 or 20,000. Like, I'll be looking back on these days and like, wow. And like, you guys will just see the whole entire process and me getting there. So thank you guys so much. Like, this is my dream. It really makes me happy. You guys see the passion in my voice and my videos. So definitely share this with any friends of yours that play poker, family, anybody. Help me keep growing. I'll keep the content coming. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys all have a great day, and thank you for watching.